Hello again. Today we're going to talk about emotions and food. Now, if you're watching this, the strong possibility is that you've embarked on a treatment to lose weight, and hopefully this is working for you. But most of us know that our emotions and food are very closely interlinked, sometimes in a not a very positive way. And this is an attempt to think about how we can keep these emotions separate from food as much as possible. Now, good emotions around food are an appropriate sense of pleasure at the food that you're having, an acknowledgement that you're feeling pleasantly satisfied by the food, those sort of things. And I do know that for many of you, perhaps for the first time, you've got to the stage where you're really not thinking about food nearly as much as you did because you're not feeling empty in the same way as you did. But if you've had a lifetime of using food to deal with emotions, then it's going to be hard to kind of retrain that habit. I mean, a classic is when people talk about comfort eating. When I've had clients in the past who are big comfort eaters, we used to do some work about, well, how comfortable are you, actually? Is this comfort zone actually very comfortable, or is it actually quite uncomfortable? And we would try and pin down, well, when is it comfortable? Well, maybe the anticipation is comfortable. Maybe the first chocolate you put in your mouth, or the first slice of crusty bread with butter is comfort. What happens when you swallow it? And so often clients have said to me, oh, well, no, I mean, once I've swallowed it, I'm full of remorse that I didn't really want to eat this. And then I think, well, I might as well have. So the whole experience that started off as being a form of comfort is profoundly uncomfortable. I think a lot of you will identify with that. And sometimes it helps to keep a little record, I ate so-and-so. How did I feel? Was this good? Was this bad? Was this uncomfortable? And just query your age-old habits. Another time we often eat is when we're very angry. But what I have to remind you here is food is not your difficult mother. Food is not your boss. Food has nothing to do with you having missed the train this morning. So often we go, right, I'm really angry, and we perhaps don't even think about it that consciously, and I'm going to stuff myself because I'm so furious. Well, there are other ways of dealing with that anger. I mean, I won't do it because I will make my cameraman jump, but you could slam your hand down on this table. It might hurt, but you might come to your senses about it and think, right, I am angry. Or you could punch a cushion, which would be definitely better than punching a person. So, there are ways of dealing with anger. There are ways of thinking, yes, my mother really was on my case this morning, and yes, it made me very, very angry, but am I going to ruin my diet all day by eating? No, I'm not. I'm going to find an alternative way. Now, we're all experts on ourselves. I know that you can find a way of diffusing anger for yourself that does not involve ruining your health and your diet. So I'm going to plant that thought and hope that it's useful for you. There are other emotions like rewards and fear of missing out. Now, I once had a client who was quite overweight. And each year she would, well, I think she joined a club quite often, but between about January and August, she was good. And she lost, on average, 4 stone. But then what happened was, it was the summer holidays. Then it was her birthday. Then it was her husband's birthday, I think. Then it was Christmas. And all those things represented to her times of festivity and eating. It was very hard for her to break that habit. But what had tended to happen for years was that she, for fear of missing out on those key celebrations, she would eat, but she would eat enormous quantities, and by December she was back to the weight she'd been before all the hard work of losing weight the January before. I'm sure some of you will understand that feeling. In time, she learnt to deal with all those feelings by finding alternative outlets for them. It was hard, and if that's happening to you, I'm sure it is hard, but I know that you can do it. I mean, now that you are losing weight, I'm sure you're finding that you're learning new ways about thinking of food, and you're dealing with those emotions that tend to trip you up. But it is a question of being straight with yourself, finding what that core emotion is, and thinking to yourself, how can I deal with those feelings without sabotaging what I'm trying to do? It's not easy, but it's not as hard as your journey that you've embarked upon that has taken a lot of thought and a lot of rearrangement of your life, I suspect. So keep with it. You're doing very, very well. And just try not to use food to deal with emotions, because 99 times out of 100, it doesn't deal with those emotions very satisfactorily at all. See you soon.